Yeah, I think now it should be fine. Those who are on YouTube, confirm that whether you are able to hear me or not before we proceed further. I'll wait until someone from the YouTube confirm that you guys can hear me. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Those who are on YouTube, probably in Zoom, you might be able to hear me. Yeah. Just give me a minute, okay? I'm still setting up the YouTube session. It seems there is some issue with YouTube. Once YouTube session is set up, yeah. Now people are saying that they can hear me on YouTube also. So let me actually give me a minute, okay? Okay. Now let me share my screen and then we'll take it further. Guys, please confirm whether you can see my screen or not. Please confirm in the chat. I think people are pinging in the chat. Yeah. I think you guys can see the student anchor. Student anchor. Yeah, got it. So let me add a panelist also here. She's our employee. So, and then I'll take it further. Sorry for wasting some time here. Yeah, I think the panelist is already in. Okay then. So today's session is primarily to give you an overview about the program. Let me pick the agenda from the from my deck, and then I'll take it further. So the today's agenda is the presentation which I'm showing is only part of it, and then on top of it, I'll also cover about myself, about ITVersity briefly, and then we'll get into the overview of program where I will be covering the deck. Then I'll be talking about the topics of skills covered as part of the program. Then I'll give a demo on training platform. Then we'll talk about self-assessments. Then we'll also talk about Slack-based support. Then a brief overview about live sessions, which will be part of the program. And then finally, payments and onboarding. I'll provide you the instructions about the payments and onboarding. I will also provide rate card depending upon your background. So we have custom pricing for different categories of people. We'll go through those details towards the end of it. So first and foremost, let me introduce myself. My name is Durga. Most of you might be already familiar about myself. I have more than 20 years of experience in IT. If you want to know more about me, my profile is pretty open. You can actually go to linkedin.com, then Durga Zero Gadiraju, or you can just search for Udemy on LinkedIn and you will be able to see me. Okay. So I have now more than 20 plus years of experience, but I'm very passionate about IT, and I spend a lot of my free time also around IT itself. So sometimes I tell people that I have like 25 years of man hours of experience, because 20 to 30% of additional time I spend on regular basis around IT itself. I'm very passionate about this, and I have transformed from PL SQL development in the early of my career. Actually, I started as a Java developer, but then I worked as PL SQL developer. Then I got into data warehousing. I worked on ETL tools like Informatica, Golden Gate, etc. Then around 10 years back, I got into big data. I learned Python, Scala as part of this journey. And also with respect to databases, I'm pretty strong. And I consult for several companies on top of the training. So training is my passion, and I do consulting as well. The reason why I do consulting along with the training is because that way the content will be up to date. So that's about my brief background. Now let me talk about ITVersity. ITVersity started as a YouTube channel around 7-8 years back, just to make sure that I provide some free content around big data at the time. At the time, I felt that big data is a viable alternative for traditional data warehousing with open source capabilities. But learning curve is very steep at the time. People has to know Java. Then there is something called MapReduce, Hadoop, and all. Now it have evolved such a way that learning curve is also pretty streamlined. So you don't need to spend too much of time. But at the time, the intention of creating YouTube channel is just to make sure that the big data is available for people at no cost or at very low cost, so that they can adapt to it and then start working on the data warehousing style projects or ETL style projects, leveraging the open source technologies. That's about ITVersity. It started around 6-7 years back. Then we have started a big data lab where we have provided 10 node cluster, and then we even published content on Udemy and all. So we have courses on our LMS, on our Udemy platform and all, but still I was not satisfied with these platforms because it is not giving the unified learning experience. That's when we have created a unique type of platform in past couple of years. I'll be giving the demo very soon on that. But before getting into those details, let's talk about the program itself. Then I'll give the demo about the platform, and then we'll take it further. So, so far, do you guys have any questions about me or ITVersity? Especially those who are part of the Zoom. So even though I have sent out 500 plus requests, only 67 people have joined the Zoom. As we have enough slots, let me also share the link in YouTube also. So anyone from YouTube, if you guys want to join the Zoom session, feel free to join. However, make sure that you disconnect from YouTube if you join Zoom session with the link which I'm going to share as part of the chat. Don't try to mix up the both the things. It will there will be a lag, and the experience will not be very good. Once again, I'm reiterating, those who are joining the Zoom via YouTube because of the open slots, make sure you can disconnect from YouTube once you are connected to the Zoom. Okay. You can now get onto the Zoom, and you can also ask questions in Zoom directly. Even in Zoom, you can only ask questions in the chat mode. You will not be able to ask using voice. That being said, now let me get into the program details. So with respect to, so there are quite a few entry-level professionals also. So that's why I want to have a slide around different career options. Typically, once the entry-level professionals graduate, either they get into IT or they can get into their core sector. For example, a mechanical engineer might get into his mechanical type of roles. There might be people who are passionate about the banking or finance sector or government and public sector. And they might take competitive exams like civils and all. So those are the different job opportunities. There are self-employment opportunities also, and then there is a further education. It could be post-graduation or masters. This is the typical student journey or entry-level professionals journey. Now, at some point or the other, many of these guys want to come back to IT, and we wanted to make sure that ITVersity provide a viable platform where people from different backgrounds, different initial decisions, different career paths based upon their initial decisions. At any point in time, if they want to get into IT, we want to be a viable platform for them. So that's the main intention behind creating this ITVersity as a platform. So when it comes to IT, these are the career paths starting from entry level to the senior level. We have application engineer, data engineer, data analyst, and then software engineer. So application engineer and software engineer is almost same these days, but earlier it is a bit different. So if you are working on web application or mobile application, it is considered to be application engineer. Software engineer is building some products. They can be products which are very low level. It need not be web or mobile application itself. All the product development with respect to building a web application or mobile application, I will place them in application engineer itself. But if someone is building some product like a database or a open source NoSQL database or a open source distributed computing platform, those are the things which can be considered as software engineers. Okay, there seems to be a question here as part of the Q&A. Let me see. So with respect to questions, there is no hard and fast rules that you have to wait until the last minute. You can ask questions at any point in time. So someone is asking the date about the date as part of the slide. I think that is the date when it is created. So that is not today's date. Okay. That being said, now with respect to application engineer, any mobile or web application developers are treated as application engineers, even if they are working on a mobile or web-based product. But if they are finding a technology solution for a niche problem, then I consider them as a software engineer. Then we have data engineering portions these days widely open. Traditionally, they are called as ETL developers, database developers, etc. But now everything is being categorized under data engineer only. And then there are analyst type of roles. Data analyst can become data scientist, senior data scientist, and then take it further. Even data engineer can actually take the path of data scientist and get into the executive position. With respect to data engineering, even they can become solutions architect, or even they can become director or VP of engineering, so on and so forth. So data engineer can get into two different paths. One is data scientist path, which require more of statistical and domain knowledge than technology, or he can also become solutions architect, especially at the information or CIO stream within the organization. That being said, there seems to be few questions. So Ravi is asking, so data engineer can become data scientist? I didn't know that. Yes, they can become data scientists, and I will throw some light around that. So typically in the larger organizations, data engineering teams and data scientist teams will be different. Okay, so data scientists will come from PhDs. They are very good at mathematics. They will have good domain knowledge, and then they try to identify the data points, and they will apply certain algorithms, and they will try to get insights to make key decisions with respect to the business. That is the role of data scientist. In that process, if data engineering teams and data scientist teams are too different in the larger organization, then if at all data is required by the data scientist, he will raise the request to the data engineers, and they will provide the data to data scientists. So that is how it will work with respect to large scale enterprises. When it comes to data engineer, they just go to different sources, get the data the way it is required for data scientists or some other IT stakeholders. Once you get onboarded, there is a detailed 1 hour session about introduction to big data and data engineering. I'll cover those aspects at the time, but to be crisp here, data engineer typically gives the data to data scientist. One of the consumer of the data, which is provided by data engineers, is nothing but data scientists, and that's how data engineering teams and data scientist teams will work together. However, in the smaller organization, for example, ITVersity is a small organization today. We hardly have 10 employees. We have a LMS platform, and we have a labs. And we wanted to run some algorithms related to fraud detection or the usage of the labs. We want to forecast few things, and we want to make certain key decisions with respect to fraud detection or usage of labs, right? So in that process, I can't afford to maintain a separate data science team and data engineering team. So in the smaller organizations, depending upon the complexity of the platform, either I can hire a data scientist with data engineering capabilities, and he can take care of both, or I can hire a data engineer who can understand the data science algorithms up to an extent, and then he can take care of implementing as per the data science algorithms, and he might even come up with few solutions based upon my very limited problem statements. So depending upon the scale of the organization and complexity of the product, there is a possibility that a data engineer might play data scientist role, or vice versa. Even data scientist might have to play a data engineer role, and these are typically in the tech firms and the small size companies. But all larger enterprises, banks, retail companies, even tech companies like Facebook, etc., they will have a different teams for data engineering and data scientists and even data analysts. So there might be 3 different teams: one for data analysis, another for data engineering, and third one for data science. So that's how it will work. That being said, Narasimha is asking a bit curious question: when does big data department started in ITVersity? So we started with big data itself. Even when before starting the labs, we started with the YouTube channel. You can look at you can go to our channel and you can actually look at about, and you can see the dates, and then you can see our first set of videos. So they are primarily related to Hadoop, which is nothing but big data. So it's there for almost 7-8 years now. Harsh is asking, can a fresh graduate can get job in data engineering? Absolutely, provided they get proper training, they understand some of the key skills that are required for data engineering. So I will get into those details, what is required to become a data engineer, even at a fresh graduation level. And I'm getting a lot of requests from several clients. As of now, I have at least 10 to 15 clients who are interested in hiring fresh graduates at data engineering. If you are committed, if you pick up the skills, I can refer you not only in India but also in US. I'm creating the client base even in US, and we'll be definitely be helping you in getting data engineering jobs at the entry level. In US, we'll be providing both full-time job opportunities as well as staff augmentation. In India, we will predominantly focusing on providing the fresh graduates as full-time employees for small to mid-size or even larger services companies or product-based companies. We will not be doing any staff augmentation in India. We'll be primarily providing assistance to staff you in at our client places. And I can even give the names related to clients. I have a client called as Fission Labs and another client called as Cloud Paytors, which are based out of Hyderabad. There are a few other clients which I have been working for quite some time, but I still have to get into some agreements with them, and hence I will not be able to reveal the names. But at least I have 10 clients now in India. Ranjit is asking, what is the expectation from 5 years experience as software engineer and worked 3 years in data engineering? I did not get your question completely, Ranjit. Ashish, you can add him to the panelist. So if he tells you, then he can ask that question and I can respond, but I will dodge this question towards the end of the presentation. So Ranjit, make sure you remind me towards the end of it, or Ashish, you can also keep track of this and you can also remind me. Okay. So administration so this is not the forum to discuss about the administration. You can reach out to us. So I will provide you my email ID. You can ping me and probably I can take it further. So my email ID is this one. You can definitely reach out to me with appropriate subject. I will take care of it further. This is not the right forum with respect to the administration. That being said, now with respect to software engineering, this is what is happening as of today. There's mass adoption of design thinking, lean and agile to build new products. Even with respect to the services also, most of the companies are adapting the startup mode. They are breaking down a bigger problem into smaller problems. And then at each problem level, they're trying to implement these design thinking, lean and agile methodology to come up with the solution for their problems. Also, there is a huge rise in microservices, automated testing, and feature flagging. And also, there is a huge rise in digital and cloud transformation. There are a lot of companies who are adapting the cloud and also becoming digital. And also, the digital also comes into significant, the digital plays a significant role in the areas of AR, VR, DevOps, and big data as well. So these will actually facilitate the greater adoption with respect to the digital. Just having that digital or building web or mobile application are not good enough. So if you want to leverage the capabilities of, or if you want to make yourself or make your product a digital based product, then you have to think about DevOps, big data, probably here we are in many of the scenarios. That being said, there is a huge demand for software engineers. Whatever we are saying are in the end software engineering only, right? Application engineer or data engineer. Probably data analyst might not be the software engineer role, but others are in one way or the other data engineer, software engineer roles only. So there's a huge demand for software engineers, which have the programming skills. Okay. Then with respect to the program, we are primarily focusing on Python and data engineering. Now I'm talking about the current state of Python-based application landscape. There's a lot of migrations that are going into Python. You can actually look at the trends in Google. If I actually go to trends.google.com. So there are some questions in Q&A also. I did not answer any of those. I will just take those questions in a moment. But before that, I just want to show you the trends with respect to Python and Java. Okay. Python, and then let me change it to 10 years or 2004 to present. And then let me search for Java. Okay, if you look at this, so this is comparison report. There's a growth in the demand with respect to the Python, but around 2004, you see the difference between Java and Python. For the difference is huge, whereas now the difference is almost nil. So both are equally valued skills as of today. In future, Python might even take over Java. But there will be a stiff competition between the two with respect to software engineering, application development, etc. Still, Java will be a major player, but Python have its own market share. With respect to data science, data engineering, etc., Python is a lot more popular than Java. Okay, so there will be a stiff competition between the two, but Python might have a little bit of edge as the technologies evolve. That's why there is a huge demand in the Python these days. There is huge demand for the Python-based application developers these days. Okay. Before going further, let me actually take these questions as part of the Q&A. I think Q&A questions are coming up as part of the chat also. Most of them are answered. Dhruva is asking, what is career path for senior network engineer in automation? I have to understand that question more. You can reach out to me, Dhruva. I will see if I can have a one-on-one call with you to take care of it. Definitely Python is viable. If you want to get into cloud and DevOps, learning Python can add significant amount of value to your, not significant, at least considerable amount of value to your profile. Okay, and our program have something called as core and electives. We'll be having few modules which are relevant for the system administrators or network administrators as well. Sendil is asking for from the test automation perspective. Sendil is saying, I am test automation professional with 12 years of experience. I want to move to big data field. Is this course relevant for me? Can I move to big data career now? Definitely, Sendil. There are two types of opportunities for you. There is a dearth or scarcity with respect to testing professionals in big data. So learning big data definitely will help you to fill some of those gaps, and you might be able to grow as a tester itself, becoming a testing solutions architect or something like that. If you want to get into data engineering, as long as you have good analytical skills, if you're comfortable with programming, definitely you can get into the data engineer also, but you have to make sure you are a bit careful in this transition. If you again go back to data engineer role, you are demoting yourself. So at least you should start at senior data engineer role, and you have to plan for becoming a solutions architect in next 2-3 years. Otherwise, again, there will be a stiff competition at the data engineer level, and you might struggle to sustain. So you have to aim for senior data engineer level immediately, and then you have to aim for the architect type of role in next 3-4 years by adding more skills related to cloud and all. That being said, I will come back to the Q&A later. Now let me actually go back to the material. Okay. Let me present here. So with respect to Python, there is a huge amount of demand. There's a lot of migration to Python. The advantage is the speed of development. That's why people are adapting Python more than any other programming language, or at least it is one of the most sought out programming language, if not the most. That being said, there is a wide range of Python usage these days, and Python surge will continue. And you can see the trend. It's still in upswing. As of now, it has sustained a bit, but I feel it will again take the growth path and it will grow further. Okay. That being said, now when it comes to data landscape, there is exponential growth of data. With respect to technology, there is continuous evolution, but don't think that there is too much of innovation happening there. So if you are a good Python developer, if you learn Python 10, 15 years back, if you are good at SQL, if you are good at data modeling, these are all traditional skills only. There is nothing new with respect to data modeling, SQL, etc. If you are good at these areas, then adoption is pretty straightforward. It will not take very long time for you to learn these technologies. As long as you work in one project or you get enough hands-on practice, you should be able to seamlessly transition to big data. There's nothing magic here. When it comes to data landscape, there is a huge demand for data ingestion and management because we are getting data from different areas. If you are a veteran in the industry, you might not be very familiar with technologies like JSON. You might be, especially if you are a mainframes developer or a database developer or ETL developer, you typically deal with only structured data in tables. You don't deal with unstructured data. Sometimes you might have heard about XML, you might have processed XML data. JSON is similar to XML. If you're comfortable with XML, you will be comfortable with JSON. So in my perspective, the impact on us because of this innovation is minimal if you are a veteran in the industry. As long as you overcome that initial fear and put your learning in right perspective and tackle the problem by relating to what you know, you will be able to learn quite fast, as long as you have inherent analytical skills and you do not struggle with respect to programming, irrespective of the programming language you have used in the past. As long as you are not struggling with respect to programming, then you should be able to learn Python and all the data engineering skills pretty quickly. Okay. Now, cloud-based big data is the way forward for all firms. Already there is a huge transition going on from on-prem data warehouses into the cloud. Even the traditional data warehouse platforms like Teradata and all are becoming cloud, are adapting cloud. So there is a huge transition going on from traditional on-prem data warehouses onto cloud-based. And that is what we are focusing on with respect to the training. And all these resulting into the huge demand for data engineers. Okay, so that is about data engineering at a very high level. Now, ITVersity as a data engineering talent partner, we have 5 years of running data engineering school, officially with big data labs and all, but I started YouTube channel almost 7-8 years back. I have close to 10+ years of experience in this industry, and I have a team of 10 people who can support you guys while you go through this training. We have trained 100,000+ professionals and students, and we haven't kept track how many of them placed, but there are acknowledgements we got from people who joined Facebook to a small, a traditional services company like Cognizant, Capgemini, etc., and also the banks in US, in India, so on and so forth. But going forward, starting from August, we want to make sure that there is a deeper corporate connect with us, and we want to provide resources to fill some of the gaps. But so far, we have the history of training 100,000+ professionals, either through Udemy or YouTube or our LMS. We have almost 30 to 40,000, not 30 to 40,000, sorry. It's been 5 years, and there are close to 3,000 subscribers every year. So close to 15,000 to 20,000 paid subscribers who use our lab, which means they have trained or they have got training in big data using our labs. So we have made a significant amount of impact in this area. As I do not only focus on training, as I'm focusing on both training as well as consulting, the content is as much up to date as possible. So that's where there are a few modules related to cloud also for experienced professionals. I will walk you through those details in a moment. We have proven research capabilities in the space of data management, and we have strong partnership with firms on delivery, training, and resources. And this is our key statistics. You can go through this, and if you have any questions, you can follow up with us. So what are the key benefits? Self-paced learning, which means you can learn from wherever you are, at whatever time you want to learn. There will be live tasks and capstone style projects. It's sorry, it was my bad. It has to be capstone, not capstone. We will fix this deck. Expert support and live sessions. There will be a course completion certificate. It is not mandatory, but if you are interested, we can provide the course completion certificate for you. For entry-level professionals, there will be job placement orientation also, and also we'll be providing the continuous learning capabilities as well. Okay, so even if you get job after 3-4 months in the middle of the training, we would highly recommend you to pursue further and make sure that you learn more by following the other content whenever you get time, and we will be there to support you. You can also support others once you get into the projects. That way, you will also gain a different level of experience, which will improve your capabilities to succeed in our career. That being said, this is the flow. This is not completely relevant for the upcoming program, and hence I am skipping. This is also not relevant. Now this is relevant. So we are primarily focusing on 2 programs, but from August we are primarily driving the data engineering program, but soon we'll be launching the application engineer program also using Python. Okay, so this deck will talk about that. As this is not relevant for today's discussion, I'm moving forward. So this is what we will be covering as part of the data engineering program. So we have divided into 3 areas, which is common to everyone, whether you are a working professional or fresher. It is common. You have to go to foundational, where we will be covering Python, SQL, and Linux. Then we call it as vanilla data engineer, or the skills that are covered here are nothing but essentials. We'll be talking about Spark, Kafka, and Airflow in this phase. And then for entry-level professionals, we will actually provide the placement assistance. There will be job orientation for them. We'll make sure that their LinkedIn profiles are updated. Their profiles are a bit more appropriate to the industry. We'll give them guidelines about what the interview process will be, how to present themselves in the interviews. There will be mock interviews. All those things will be covered for the students. And this is not available for the working professionals. For working professionals, we would rather ask them to spend time on the cloud-based concepts rather than going through the placement assistance. That being said, I just need to take a 2 minutes bio break. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to post those questions in the chat. I will take those questions and then we'll move forward. Now I am back. I hope you guys can hear me. Don't ping in the chat. I'm sure that you guys will be hearing me. I just want to make sure that the questions are there. I don't want to have too many unnecessary messages. That being said, now let me go through the questions. There are quite a few of them. Let me see where I should start. Those who are on YouTube, if you want to ask any questions, so feel free to join the YouTube, Zoom session. We have our team also as part of the YouTube. So if someone can ping the Zoom session link from the previous chat messages, it will be great. Even anyone can volunteer and ping the link if you are going to join the Zoom session. Also, make sure that you join, you disconnect from YouTube session once you join the Zoom session. Don't join with both. There will be a lag and it will unnecessarily cause some confusion. That being said, Harsh have asked a question saying that what are minimum expectations from a fresh graduate for data engineer role? So this deck will answer that, Harsh. Python, SQL, and Linux, and then Spark, Kafka, Airflow. Prabhu is asking, I have 9+ years of experience. This course is suitable for me. Definitely, Prabhu. You have to throw some more light about your past experience for us to give a bit better answer. So after this, we will also send a WhatsApp link. You guys can join that, and you can get any clarifications required from using that WhatsApp group. And also the sales process will be going through that WhatsApp group. So we'll be invoicing you through WhatsApp. You can join, and then we'll take it further. Mahesh is asking, I mean to say that am I suitable to learn programming? Okay, Mahesh's background is, I think, network engineer. I'm not the better judge, Mahesh. You have to decide yourself. As long as you are good in shell scripting or any programming based upon your experience so far, you can actually decide. You can also give me a call once you join the WhatsApp group to discuss it further. I can guide you through about how you can decide whether you are suitable to learn programming or not. Okay. But you are the ultimate decision maker. Even after the discussion, in 5 to 10 minutes, my judgment might be wrong. So you have to take the responsibility of the decision. I can only give the inputs depending upon the conversation for that 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Deepak is asking, what is the scope in data engineering for someone having 5+ years of DevOps? I typically do not recommend someone who have 5+ years of DevOps experience to get into data engineering. DevOps itself is pretty big. There are quite a lot of opportunities in the DevOps area itself. I would highly recommend you to pursue Terraform, focus on building CI/CD, or building pipelines for CI/CD, get into the cloud rather than getting into the data engineering. That is for Deepak, who have asked about data engineering for 5+ years of DevOps. I don't recommend data engineering for them. Suresh is asking, I'm working in a top telecom as data engineer. Will you be referring for jobs in US? I will not be able to refer just like that because in US, we also need work permit. Okay. I can only support the folks who are in US who can transition jobs in one company to another company. If you are already based out of US, probably I might be able to. But if you are looking for abroad opportunities being in India, then probably I might not be able to help much. What is the scope of data engineering and DevOps in next 5 years? They are here to stay. Those are the areas one should focus on. Soben is asking for learning Kafka. Do we need Java? Not required, Soben. So Kafka is used both in microservices as data engineering. In this case, we'll be primarily focusing from the data engineering perspective. So Kafka have its own ecosystem of tools like Kafka Connect, Kafka Streams, Kafka SQL, etc. You just need to understand the basics of Kafka, then understand Kafka Connect, which is just a plug and play kind of tool with a few configuration changes. And then you have to focus on integration with Kafka, integration of Kafka, not integration with, but integration of Kafka with the tools like Spark, Spark structured streaming, etc. Or integration of Kafka with the cloud-based file systems, etc. So for that, you don't need to learn Java. You should be able to use Spark-based libraries or Python-based libraries itself. So to answer your question, if you are trying to focus on data engineering side, even though you learn skills like Kafka, Kinesis, etc., you don't need to be very comfortable with Java. But if you are planning to get into microservices, then definitely Java will add significant amount of value. I read from some of the blocks that big data is also at its end. Ranjit is asking this question. The question is, I read from some of the blocks that big data is also at its end, like MapReduce, Hive, etc. are going to end. That's why we call it as data engineering. MapReduce, Hive are going to die for sure, but data engineering is here to stay. And for that, you need to know Python. Python is the key programming language these days for that. And then you also need to learn Spark, Kafka, Cloud, etc. Ranjit, your statement is partially correct. Technologies like MapReduce, Hive are going to die, but big data and data engineering are here to stay. Big data is just a concept, it's not a technology. Vamshi is asking how Python have demand in data engineering even after having specific big data applications. I think, Vamshi, that question itself is not correct. There are no specific big data applications. You have to throw more light here. With respect to data engineering, Python will be having the high demand. We need to use some programming language, and Python is the most sought out programming language with respect to data engineering. The days of ETL tools like Informatica and all are gone. Rather, people started using programming. I have worked in quite a few projects which have migrated from traditional ETL tools into programming-based solutions, especially either by using Python or Scala. Harsh is asking, what are the minimum expectations from a fresh graduate for data engineers? I have already answered that question, Harsh. Python, this slide will actually answer that question. What are the opportunities for recent graduates with no experience? I have already covered as part of the earlier slide, Himank. If you joined late, I would highly recommend you to go through the video once again and then take it further. Akhil is asking, I have 2+ years as an Angular developer. I want to switch my career to data engineer. How should I begin it? If you already made a decision, you just focus on this. You should be good to go at your level. With 2 years of experience, Python, SQL, and Linux, Spark, Kafka, Airflow, and little bit on cloud should be good enough. With respect to the duration and all, I will be talking. Fee also, I'll be sharing the details very soon. Deepak is asking, so these are the questions from Omkar and Jilani related duration and fee. Depending upon your background, it will vary, and I will explain that towards the end of the session. Deepak is asking, is any of one cloud, AWS, Azure concepts will be covered along with hands-on? Definitely, that is for experienced people. Again, towards the end, I will share the differences between what freshers or entry-level professionals will be focusing on and what the experienced professionals will be focusing on. VS, I have already answered that question, so I'm passing it on. What is the scope for freshers in data engineering? I have already answered that question. Uday, does that make any difference learning AWS or Azure? Not much. As long as you are good in one cloud, you are good to go. You should be able to pick additional cloud as well. So AWS or Azure is like playing a MP4 song with Windows Media Player or some third-party tool. So it's something like that. So as long as you are fundamentally strong at cloud concepts, you should be able to adapt to AWS or Azure pretty quickly. You just have to focus on one cloud platform to begin with and pick up all the key aspects with respect to cloud. Then you should be able to adapt to GCP or Azure fairly quickly. Manoj, I have already answered that question quite a few times. So this definitely covers cloud technologies. Santosh is asking, is it self-paced training? I will go through the details very soon, Santosh. You will understand that. But for now, it is hybrid. It will be self-paced with live support and also live sessions wherever you run into issues. Dhananjay is asking, I'm a MongoDB DBA and currently learning data science. How can I fit into data engineering? So I think I have already covered that question earlier. Dhananjay, you can go back and you can listen to this once again. Shravan, it could be issue on your side. You have to check your internet speed. Only you are complaining about the breaking of voice. So you have to check the internet speed on your side. So that being said, most of the questions are similar in nature. We will actually move forward because there are quite a few questions because they are similar in nature. If there is any specific question, you can actually raise those towards the end. One last question which I will be answering is Dakshit's question: will you also support entry-level grads in USA? That is the plan. We are actually starting a exclusive MS students pool and we are planning to support entry-level graduates very soon. So Sujit is asking why not Scala instead of Python. Scala is not that popular compared to Python, and getting Python resources is much faster. And hence, a lot of companies are focusing on Python over Scala with respect to data engineering. Earlier, Scala and Python almost have the equal market, but getting Scala resources is a bit tricky compared to Python-based resources. And hence, it is actually moving towards Python. In the initial days, as Sujit was mentioning, as Spark is written on Scala, it used to perform a bit better on Scala. But with Spark 2, they have addressed that problem. Irrespective of which programming language you use on top for the development, in the end, the execution happens in almost similar manner. And hence, whether we use Python or Scala, there won't be too much of a performance difference. That's where there is a significant spike in Python-based data engineering than Scala-based data engineering. Okay, you can also Google around, or you can check for Naukri or Dice to see which one is more popular. If you want, we can do that research in a separate session altogether. But to answer your question, even though Spark is written on Scala, we are not becoming a Spark software. We are trying to build applications using Spark. Whether use Python or Scala, it doesn't matter. Even Java also can be used, but using Java is a bit complicated from the development perspective. That's why people use either Python or Scala. But now people are actually adapting Python more than Scala because Python is easier compared to Scala. Okay. So that being said, now let's and also to answer your question, Sujit, we are even planning to onboard the training related to Scala as well very soon. To begin with, we'll be running the data engineering program using Python, but there will be Scala-based program also. So that being said, these are the things, especially for the entry-level professionals. Level 1 Python, RDBMS, and SQL. Level 2, with respect to data engineering, we'll primarily focus on Spark, Kafka, and Airflow. If it is application developer path, which we'll be announcing soon, it will be Django, Flask, Docker. As part of the level 3, for entry professionals, it will be job orientations, social profile, assessments, feedback, mock interviews, etc. Even these areas will be focused for entry-level professionals. For experienced, we will not be focusing on these things and these things. Rather than this, you will be guided towards cloud. So that is the difference between entry-level and experienced. That being said, that's it for now with respect to this slide. Now, as we are running out of time, already we are we only have 10 more minutes, but there's still a lot more content to be covered. The most important aspect is the platform. Let me actually talk about the platform, and then we will take it further. There are a few questions in the YouTube as well. Let me review these questions quickly, and then we will take it further. And also, as I have highlighted, feel free to join the Zoom and ask questions over there. When you join the Zoom, make sure you disconnect from the YouTube. Okay, let me do this. So there is one question from Amit, which is important. Can you please clarify difference between Apache? Okay, this is not the right time, Amit. This is too in-depth. This is not related to the program, and hence I cannot answer that question. There is a question about hands-on practice. Now I'm actually getting into those details. So far I have covered about the trainers, about ITVersity, overview of program, and also topics or skills covered. Now I'm actually talking about training platform. We'll also be talking about self-assessment, Slack-based support, live sessions, and then we'll be concluding with payments and onboarding. It might take another 40 minutes to cover all these things. So now let me actually walk you through the training platform. So I have to go to our website. Okay. Actually, there is one issue. It is hung. Okay. So let me actually take you to labs.itversity.com. It is the front face for this, for our interactive learning platform. typically is the people can actually purchase labs and then they can take it from there. Once they purchase the labs, they will get an account on a multi-node cluster. We have a 10-node big data cluster, state-of-the-art cluster with 32 GB each on with 32 GB memory on each of the server at the least. That is the minimum configuration we have. And it have all the technologies like Spark, Kafka, Hadoop, MapReduce, etc. You can see here, you are seeing gateway node. If you click on it, it will actually open the platform. We just updated yesterday, and I have to open in incognito mode to actually give you the to directly redirect you to the lab. Okay, I think my system started becoming slow because it's been a while since we started this session. With the Mac latest version, there's an issue lately where if you share the screen for a very long time, it will slow down the performance of the system. Yeah, it is behaving a bit weird. It is taking time for response also. So this is how the interface will be. I'll be talking about mastering Python course, and also I'll be covering about what all topics will be covered as part of this Spark, and then we'll take it further. So once you get the lab access, the content will be like this. You can see here. Let me close all these things. So you will be getting a folder called as mastering Python for Python content, for SQL, mastering PostgreSQL, so on and so forth. You can see there are quite a lot of modules, but the core modules will be before 30. All the modules before 30 will be core. We'll be publishing few more modules as we go along in the course. All these modules are relevant with respect to data engineering. The actual Python content start from here. Before that, if someone don't want to use our labs for the practice for whatever reason, if they want to set up their own lab, we are providing the instructions, but you can skip one. If you are enrolled for our programs, you can skip these things and you can start with this, getting started with Python, then basic programming concepts, then predefined functions, user defined functions. There's a lot of emphasis on collections. You see here, all 5 modules are related to collections. Object-oriented programming is not core. We can actually remove that. We'll be removing that. But if you want to learn, there will be content, but it is not required for data engineering type of roles. But with application developer type of roles, it is relevant. Then pandas libraries. Pandas is also similar to collections only. So these 5 are collections. Pandas is also a wrapper on top of collections. So I can say that is also related to collections. 6. Even with respect to database programming, here also we'll be talking about collections, 7 modules. And then you see here, there are topics such as processing JSON data, processing REST payloads, etc. All these are related to collections only. So there's a lot of emphasis on collections. As you go to the content, you will be very comfortable with the collections, and also you'll be comfortable with how to process JSON data. So you can actually ask me to deep dive any module here, but I'll be picking these 2 because most of you, even experienced people, might not be familiar with the JSON. It will give an idea about how the flow will be. So these 2 are related ones. Let's start with processing JSON data. So if you look at these modules, first we are giving a overview of JSON. Then we are talking about the data types in JSON. Then how JSON can be created in the form of strings so that we can explore the functions that are available to manipulate JSON. So that's what create JSON string is all about. Then processing JSON strings. All these are 10 to 15-minute modules. Each one is each one of these are actually 5 to 15 minutes. It will take 5 to 15 minutes for you to complete. And then we are talking about how JSON will be there in the files, what are different ways, and what are the common use cases. And then we are actually talking about writing, processing JSON using pandas, and also these covers processing JSON using something called as JSON module, and also how to write to JSON files using JSON module, and how to write to JSON files using pandas. After that, we are actually talking about processing the REST payloads. If you are already an experienced professional, you might be knowing that REST requests will return a JSON-based response, right? So that's where we are first covering the details about the JSON, especially for entry-level professionals. It is very important. Even for experienced people who are getting into Python, it will be a smoother transition for you. You can directly skip some topics and you can actually get into whatever topics are relevant for you. And then you can actually get into this module where we have covered how to explore REST APIs using curl command, postman, and then there's a module called as requests in Python, how to use that to actually start processing the REST payloads. And towards the end, you see there are two topics, get report details using get. If you go here, towards the end, there are exercises also. So these exercises will tell whether you are understanding the concepts or not. These are topic level exercises, very simple ones. And there will be module level exercise that will actually cover all the scenarios that are learned in that module. So this is one of the way we actually provide the content along with the exercises. Same exercises, because we are talking about pandas here to process REST payloads using pandas. Same exercises are also requested using pandas. Okay. As of now, these doesn't have videos, but I will actually go through some of the topics which have videos as well. We'll be creating videos in these for these topics also, but we haven't created yet. We are working on creating the videos as well. And finally, if you look at the exercise, okay, the exercise is it's a take-home project. So in this case, we are providing a link where we got the JSON data. There seems to be some network issues. Guys, please confirm if you are able to hear me, because I got a message saying that my internet is not stable. So please confirm if you guys are able to hear or not. Narsima, earlier it was good. Just now it is breaking for me. Sorry, just now I got that message. Probably there is some issue with your network. You have to, Imran, Jilani, those whoever is having issues, it could be issues on your side. So you just have to check on your side. Okay, it need not be issues from my side. If it is for everyone, then I can understand it is from my side. That being said, you can see here, I have provided the link. I have provided the instructions about what should be the database name, what are the tables that are supposed to be created, what are the fields that should be there, and also you have to run queries to make sure that data is copied properly. And from one JSON, we have to populate two tables. So the JSON will be denormalized in structure, whereas the tables will be normalized, and you have to satisfy this, and you have to load the data into these tables. So this will give you a complete exercise about analyzing, designing, and implementation of the solution, and also validation. So that is the typical SDLs we follow. First, we have to analyze the requirements. Then you have to design a solution. Then you have to come up with the solution. After coding for your problem, you also need to validate. And all those things are covered in this simple capstone style exercise. So there'll be quite a few exercises like this as you go along, and you can actually test your skills as much as you can. And also, if I go to one of the topics where I have videos, for example, list and set, if you open any of these topics, most of them will have videos. You see here, if you see percentage, HTML, iframe, and YouTube, this is nothing but a video. So you will get an interactive, unified experience with videos wherever they are available, code examples or tasks, along with some reference material, and also exercises, especially towards the end of the module. Not every topic will have the exercises, but at each module level, definitely there will be exercises. For example, in this case, if I go back, you see there are exercises related to list and set. You can go through this. If you are able to solve these problems, that means you have some level of confidence that you have understood the skills related to list and set. That being said, on top of it, we are also preparing something called as assessment engine. You see here, there is something called as Python assessments. So we are creating a big question bank, and each one will, it's in itself will be a kind of a capstone project. So you should be able to pick whatever topics you want, and you can take it further. We are also planning to build some web-based solutions in the medium to long term. They might not be available very soon. There should be a web interface where you can select the topics, and based upon that, it will actually set up assessment for you. Okay. On top of it, for the experienced professionals, rather than placing everyone in the same bucket, you guys might already be familiar with SQL. You guys might already be familiar with Python, but we are not sure at what level you are and what are the gaps before you get into the big data, right? For that, we have a standard SQL assessment. We will actually conduct these assessments with the experienced professionals and also entry-level professionals if they have decent skills with SQL and Python. It covers starting from creating a simple table with some constraints, then DML, then running queries against the data, to advanced queries such as highly paid employees. So these 7 scenarios. So there are 7 exercises in this. 2 of them are not exercises. Actually, yeah, 7. 3 of them are not exercises out of these 10. 7 of them are exercises. And by going through these 10 exercises, we will understand where we stand. You yourself will understand where you stand. We will also review your assessment result, and we will give out feedback also. We'll also tell what are the areas which you need to focus on to close the gaps to get into the next level in the pipeline from foundational to data engineering. Similar to that, we also have Python assessment. SQL assessment is closed assessment. You are supposed to use only Postgres documentation, and you can actually solve the problems with respect to SQL assessment. But Python assessment is open book assessment. You have to go through all these problems and you have to come up with a solution. We'll give you a day or 2, depending upon your pace. You can actually complete this, and then we will review and we will actually tell what are the areas you should focus on before getting into the big data. So this is the relevance of assessments, especially for the experienced professionals and also talented entry-level computer science or IT students. If you are not from computer science or IT student, even if you go through Python training from some traditional classroom training things, I would highly suggest you to go through the complete course rather than taking these assessments. But if you are from computer science or IT background, or if you are an experienced professional, we can actually consider these assessments to accelerate your learning path. Okay. Now, let me also give a quick review about the Spark material. Okay. It is also part of ITVersity material. And if you see, there is a Spark and Spark SQL. These 2 are the ones which will be covered, and streaming pipelines will cover the Kafka. So these 3 are the modules which will be part of the essentials: PySpark, Spark SQL, and streaming pipelines. If you look at the PySpark, assessments are not ready yet. We are working on them, but you see there are 9 modules, actually 10 modules. Even special data types is important. Again, this is relevant to JSON. Unless and until you understand JSON in foundational, the special data types might not make much of a sense to you. So that's why going through that foundational, understanding where you stand, and then getting into big data is very important. Same is the case with Spark SQL. The material will be similar. Only thing is there will be using something called as data frames APIs in Spark. Here we will be using SQL queries. So that's the only difference. And also there are some integration points. We'll be covering those as well. Also, as part of this, we'll be covering overview of HDFS and all those things. When we talk about Spark SQL, Hive is already covered. So if you know Spark SQL, you can go ahead and say that I'm good at Hive also. Hive and Spark SQL, from the syntax perspective, they are same, but from the execution perspective, they are a bit different. Okay. So any questions related to the core and foundational and essentials part? The cloud-based content will not be published like this. It will be a different approach. I will talk about it at a later point in time when I actually go through the details of pricing and all. Okay. You will be getting notebooks only, but you have to deploy those notebooks on your cloud platform so that you don't need to share your cloud credentials with us, and you can continue learning. We'll be supporting you wherever you are stuck. We'll be helping you setting up the material, and you will be learning using similar interface even on cloud. But in that process, you have to pay some money to Databricks or AWS. That we'll see at a later point in time. That being before this is a brief overview about the platform. Now I will give you 2 to 3 minutes of time or even more to make sure that all your questions are answered. Okay. So there are so before getting into live support and all those things, let me talk about the cost, because a lot of guys are asking. Then we will actually get into the other things. Narsimha is asking, can you repeat for non-IT background? So if you are an entry-level professional or if you are a fresher, if you are not from a non-IT background, we'll highly recommend you to go through foundational and essentials before you make yourself available as data engineer. Yeah, even if you are a fresher, if you are from non-IT, then you have to go to the complete program. Assessments might not be relevant for you. Sanjay, if it is boring, you can drop off. Guys, is it boring for others also? If you think it is boring, I would like to address that and take it further. Are you guys comfortable with the pace, or yeah? Sanjay, you can drop off. Let me send him out, because Ashish, see if we can send Sanjay out, because he is feeling bored. Yeah. Yeah. So syllabus. Now I am actually getting into cost and all those things. Okay. Then we will take it further. So here I'm actually taking you to the planning details and rate card. Okay. So that being said, so if you look at this, there are 6 different categories: US students, US working professionals, India students, India working professionals, other country students, and other countries working professionals. I'll be talking using US students, US working professionals in detail, and then I will highlight some of the differences between the other categories. So if you are in US, and even if you are a student, especially in masters, this is primarily for masters. So these are the things which will be covered: Python, SQL, Linux, Spark, Kafka, Airflow, essentials of cloud using AWS, overview of Databricks. Okay. If you want, I can give you detailed outline also, but at a high level, these are the topics which will be covered. It can be full-time for recent graduates or part-time for college graduates. Full-time can be done in 3 to 6 months. Part-time can go from 9 to 18 months. Lab and content details, the full-time folks will get 1 year, which means recent graduate students will get lab for 1 year. Part-time students will get it for 2 years. Training will be primarily done using Jupyter notebooks with ITVersity's YouTube videos. There might be some references for external videos also in the form of links, but all the videos which you'll be seeing as part of the notebooks will be ITVersity's videos only. Content will be available lifetime as part of the GitHub repository. For example, in this case, if I say github.com, so I was showing you the mastering Python material right earlier. So I'm going to the mastering Python repository here. So it is available as part of the GitHub. All the content which I have shown as part of the platform is available here. And you can actually go here. You can review the topic anytime you want. Okay. If you wanted to make your own copy of this, you can definitely, as part of the platform itself, let me demonstrate you one thing here. You can also connect to Linux-based terminal. You can go to the Linux terminal. Okay. And as part of the Linux terminal, you can actually run Git commands. So if you're, once you gain a bit of comfort level with respect to Git, you can push, it means you can create your own repository using our content. Either you can fork it and you can take it further, or you can actually manage it as your own repository also. And then even if you do not have access to the lab, if you go to the mastering Python, right? Here we have covered how to build self-supported lab. You can build that self-supported lab, and you can actually deploy this material over there, and you should be able to explore whenever you want. So that is how it will work. So you will get lifetime access to the material as well as the videos. Only thing that will be missing will be live support and the live sessions once you are offboarded from the training. Okay. So that being said, Now let me actually get into support and tools. We'll be providing Slack-based support. There'll be self-assessments. You can actually take assessments as and when you want. If you want us to review, you can place a request. We will review once in a while and see if you are in the right direction or not. But many times you will be able to judge yourself. You don't need to seek expert review session. You can judge yourself and you can take it further. There will be live webinars to clarify the doubts. You can actually post your questions in the Slack, and we will consolidate those and we can take it further. And also, we for August, it's a beta. So we are actually building something which will be similar to this. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. So in this case, if I go to batch 2021-017, if you go here, so there is something called as ITVersity Foundational. Okay, so this is a Excel sheet for which we'll be giving access to you. Okay, everyone will get access. All the students will get access to their own Excel. Okay, and then as you go to the training, we will send daily reminders if you opt in. Once you get the daily reminder towards the end of the day, you can update the status for the day. Especially if you need any clarifications, you can select this and you can actually place the clarifications related to that module. And then we are actually automating the process of scraping all these Excels of all the students and getting an executive dashboard. And then I can actually look at the dashboard and I can actually provide you the solution. That will actually facilitate me to streamline the doubt clarification sessions also. Okay. All the common things can be consolidated and I can answer the questions. So that is the a plan which we are going to pursue with respect to the live sessions. Okay, live webinars and also progress and issue tracker. So we will be tracking. I'll go to the pricing in a minute. There, I just want to make sure I re-emphasize on the additional costs when you get into the cloud. There will be placement assistance. The terms and conditions generally non-refundable, but if we discontinue the training from our side for any reason, depending upon your status at that time, we will either do partial prorated refund, or for example, after foundational, we decided to discontinue essential training because of some calamity or something. So whatever fee that are charged for foundational will not be refunded, but the fee related to essentials will be refunded. So that's how the refund process will be. With respect to follow-up Q&A for you to enroll for this program, we will be adding you to WhatsApp group and we will take it further. Most of the stuff is same, whether it is topics, mode will be different, lab and content details, support and tools, everything will be same. Now pricing will be different. For pricing and duration are the things which are different from different categories, for different categories of people. If you are a student and if you want to pay upfront, typically we charge $1,200 for that, but for these next 2-3 batches, we are planning to $600. You can pay $600 in one shot and you are good to go. But if you think you will not be able to afford 600 or whatever full price it is for future batches, then you can pay $300 upfront, and we'll be charging $2,700 once you get the job. Okay. For those who pay in full, we might not be providing placement assistance completely. Definitely, if we get some references, we will direct them. But preparing the resume, LinkedIn profile, those things are subjective. We will see if at all it is required, we will do. But for these guys, because we are assuming that people are opting for this for 2 reasons. One, they will not be able to pay the full price. 2, they also need some support with respect to placement. So for those 2 reasons, we will spend some additional effort to make them ready for the placement, and this is the charge for them. But if you are a student, if you think that, okay, I just want to pick up the skills and I want to by myself, then you can actually go with this and you can pay and you can move forward. You don't need to worry too much about the other payments. Okay. But there will be additional costs for the labs that we will not be charging. It will go to the AWS. We'll be deploying material on our side and we will take it further. Now, if you are a US working professional, it is a part-time 6 to 9 months. It will take at least 6 to 9 months, and you will be going through all these topics. Okay, so if you start on August 1st, I can say that the first pool of people might come out in February or March, depending upon their commitment. Okay, you will be getting the lab access for 1 year, and the rest of the stuff is same. If you are an Indian student, then there are either college going students or graduates. Even they also fall into one of these two categories. When it comes to Indian students, it will take at least 4 to 9 months. There's a difference for the duration for the US students and Indian students. Indian students, it will be 4 to 9 months full time. It will take anywhere between those many months. For part time, it will be 12 to 24 months. So part time is for those who are going to college, who are still going to college. It can be second year or third year or first year. For fourth year, once you are into 4-2, probably full time is a more viable option. But if you want to pursue part time, even as a final year student, we are good with it. With respect to lab and content, full time guys will get 1 year lab access. Part time guys will get 2 years lab access. Other than that, everything else is same except for pricing. The pricing is very cheap for students. Okay, because I have the clients and I'll be, I'm sure that they will be hiring resources from this pool, and I want to bridge the gap between the college and the industry. That's why we are giving at a very low cost for Indian students. Foundational will be 10,000 and essentials will be 15,000, including GST. So if you want to take this training as a student, you have to pay in 2 installments, 10,000 and 15,000. But if you are confident that the training is good for you, you can pay 20,000 in one shot, and we are good to go. Okay, and still we'll be providing all the support we typically provide for those who are going in phases also. I would highly recommend to go with full if you are a computer science or IT professional. If you are a non-computer science or IT student, and if your aptitude and reasoning skills are good, if you have taken AMCAT or CoCubes tests, if you are getting decent results, and if you are from computer science or IT, then I would highly recommend you to go with this, because you will be getting 5,000 rupees discount. But if you are not from a computer science background, or if your AMCAT or CoCubes scores are not very good, then I would highly suggest you to test the waters with foundational by paying 10,000 rupees. At any point in time, you can decide whether this course is for you or not, and drop off. You don't need to pay that additional amount. Okay, so there is a value for both. If you are not, if you are from a non-computer science background, and if you are not sure whether the training is for you or not, you can actually go with this approach. If you're from computer science background or IT background, and if your AMCAT or CoCubes scores are good, then I would recommend you to go with this, and definitely you will be marketable in 4 to 6 months, and I can assist you in getting the placement. Okay. So with respect to placement, it will be via our strategic hiring partners. So we have quite a few clients who are willing to hire from our pool. We will reveal the names as we go forward. As of now, we have Cloud Peritas, Fission Labs, MindGraph. There are other companies also. I can't reveal the name. They are willing to hire, but we haven't got the agreement done. Then India work professionals, it is similar to US working professionals in all aspects. Only thing is the price will be 30,000 rupees plus GST. So it will come down to 35,400 rupees. Okay, but if you are serious about it, if you are in the middle of the jobs, we can have some considerations. But if you are a working professional and if you want to gain the skills with our support, this is the price. We are also coming up with a self-paced model for working professionals in the range of 15,000 rupees. The only difference between that and this one will be, you will be getting 1 year or 2 years lab access, and you will be getting all the material and the technical support related to lab issues. The content-based support on Slack will not be there. or you will not be invited to the live sessions. So that's the difference. But we haven't opened that yet. We'll be planning for that also very soon. Okay. As of now, you will be getting the live sessions support, everything in this cost, along with the content and YouTube videos. Placement assistance, okay, for the Indian working professionals, it will not be US based agencies. I think it's a copy paste issue. I have to fix this. We will refer to our clients. If you opt in for job, okay. For freshers, it will be a different level of placement assistance. For experienced professionals in India, we'll just refer to the clients. And related to content, it is same whatever you have seen with US students and US working professionals. When it comes to Indian students, you see here there is no cloud related stuff here. It will be purely Python, SQL, Linux, Spark, Kafka, Airflow. So these are good enough for entry level professionals. This decision is made consciously after talking to clients. They are comfortable in hiring the people after these two. But if there are smart students, we might even give them material related to AWS and cloud so that they add more skills to their profiles. Now comes other countries. So it is almost same as US. Only thing is there won't be any placement assistance for students or working professionals from other countries. The price will be $500 plus transaction cost. Okay, US it's 600 for other country students. Sorry, US students there is a special pricing. For other country students, it's $500 plus transaction or conversion cost. There are no additional discounts or placement assistance. If it is working professionals from other countries, then the cost will be similar to US folks. It's same actually. It will be $600 plus transaction or conversion costs. Okay, so these are the pricing details. So when it comes to communicating to you further related to enrollments, we'll be creating WhatsApp groups for each batch, and we'll be sending the invitations based upon the form you have filled, and then we'll take it further. If you haven't filled the form yet, then let me share the form. Probably I will add it to the YouTube description. You can go to the YouTube description and you can check the form. And then you can fill now and we will take it further. After this session, I will be updating the YouTube description with the form. You can fill it from there. So that being said, I think that's it with respect to the I have gone a bit of order because a lot of guys are asking for the pricing. If you have any questions, let me know before we take it. So some people are asking for the syllabus. At a high level, I have covered. Once you get into the WhatsApp group, you can ask those questions and we will provide a bit of more details. So for Canada, we don't have any solid presence yet, but there is a possibility because I am working with one Canadian client recently, and that client is well connected with Canada. Probably we might be able to, but at this time we are not promising any placement assistance for Canadians. Yeah, so Dana, this is a paid thing. I don't know if you feel it is free. Yeah, content will be available on GitHub. You can follow that if you want it to be free, or there will be cheaper versions in Udemy also. Okay. So Omkar, I will not be able to repeat because a lot of people are in the meeting. A lot of people are in the meeting. 1 minute, okay. Yeah, sorry for that. Durga, I will get back to you on that in WhatsApp or email. With respect to Harsh question related to projects, there will be quite a few projects, and definitely will get decent expertise with respect to implementing the projects. Omkar, I will not be able to go back to that again. Okay, after this session, we'll be sharing the details with you. Sorry for that. We are already way behind the schedule, and I don't want to get into too much back and forth. So there are people who just joined. You just have to review the video again to understand what it is, Shravani. And then you can reach out to us on WhatsApp and we will clarify all your questions. Okay. So that being said, yeah, so a lot of people are asking for how to join for the program. Let me share the link. I think the link, hey, Ashish, can you share the link quickly? Because in YouTube also people are asking for the details. So if you can share the link, I can actually share it in the YouTube. That being said, yeah, I don't know your full name. You are. I will actually share the link. You just have to fill the form. We will actually take it further. Okay. So that being said, now let me go through the remaining agenda. There are a few more things which are supposed to be covered. Shravani, we will actually share the form. You just fill it. We will reach out to you on WhatsApp and we can take it further. You will get my number when you actually join that WhatsApp. So now I want to just give a quick demo about how the support will be using Slack. Okay, so for that I have to open the Slack. Just give me a minute. Okay, my system is behaving a bit slow. Just bear with me for a few more minutes. I have to share my Slack now. Now you should be able to see the Slack as well. If you look at the Slack, for each and every month, there will be a separate group like this, a separate channel. And then there will be a common channel for all the students who are onboarded. So this is how we'll be supporting. So you can actually post your questions here and we will take care of the required support. Whether it is bugs in the code, if you are stuck even because of your typos, all those things will be addressed in timely manner. So I have a couple of folks in US, couple of folks in India who will be monitoring this, which will actually give you almost 24/7 support. Typically, most of the questions will be answered within an hour or two. But our SLAs are 24 hours to 48 hours. It might take 24 hours to 48 hours in some cases, especially if you have to support your code. We'll also give you some guidelines how to and you have to follow those guidelines. It will save a lot of your time, my time, and also the complete set of people who will be part of that Slack channel. So this is how the support will be. Okay. If there are any questions related to Slack-based support also, please raise those questions. When it comes to live sessions, I have already mentioned about it. I'll be conducting weekly live sessions. I will try to review even based upon your feedback on the progress tracker once the progress tracker is implemented. Until then, you can post your questions on Slack. If I cannot answer in the Slack channel, I will try to answer as part of the weekend session. Most of the questions which are related to the content will be given higher priority, but don't limit your questions just related to content. You can ask questions related to program also. For example, I might have skipped some important module. You can demand for that module to be part of the training based upon your experience. As long as we also agree that it is relevant, we will take care of it. For example, the JSON module is introduced like that only. JSON and processing REST payloads are introduced like that only. When I'm giving corporate training, they have asked for them for those modules, and I have included those modules. Okay, so that's it about the complete program. I will share the form for those who are in the YouTube. you can actually even those who joined who have joined in Zoom. If you haven't filled the form yet, please fill the form. So Ashishri, you have to okay, you just pinged me. That is fine. I am sharing the message. Okay, it will only go to panelists. It will not go to the attendees. Now I am actually sending it to both panelists and attendees. Okay, so fill this. You will get the details. Ranjit, you follow up with us, and we'll actually take care of sharing the details. If you are curious about the complete program details, it is already there as part of the GitHub, and I will share the links with you as part of the WhatsApp, and we can take it further. At this time, we only have the high-level overview, but we will be definitely sharing the syllabus. And also, a lot of people are asking about the detailed syllabus. Probably what I will do, I was not expecting this. It's my bad. I will actually create a separate video, and also I will provide the outline to all those who have filled the form. As long as Ranjit, you fill the form, you will get the details about the course outline also. Okay. So along with the in the same document where we have the rate card and other high-level details, I will also include the detailed outline of the course, so that you will get a complete idea about what will be covered. I think that is better rather than creating another video. Please fill the form. The form link is shared as part of the Zoom chat. I'm sharing as part of the YouTube chat also. Okay. So those whoever fill the form will get the email in their email box with all the details. Make sure you guys fill the form and you will get the details. Okay. You are asking, I have 8 years experience in SQL. Yeah, definitely. It will be a very good training for you. You are, as long as you have good analytical skills. If you have SQL experience for 8 years, this program is tailor-made for you. You will be able to pick up some of the important skills. Okay. Any questions before we wrap up? There are a lot of questions in Q&A. Let me see. Mayank Patil is saying, if I have remote job with no purpose of my work experience, only a contract agreement, do I count as a working professional? I'm not sure, Mayank, at this time. You have to follow up with us. I have to talk to you before considering whether you are the working professional or student. Okay. Ranjit, when are you going to launch course for working professionals with less fee? That will be probably around August mid. And you will only be getting the content and lab access for that. Okay, cool. Shrikar is also asking for the same thing. Ranjit is saying, what is the estimation on additional cost for AWS or Databricks? Even if you spend $45 to $50 over a period of 3 months, it is more than enough. As long as you do not make any silly mistakes, like opening up too many ports unnecessarily, or unnecessarily processing large amounts of data, the cost will not be significantly high. $45 to $50 is way over a typical budget. But I'm being pessimistic here. But if you open up all the ports, there might be DDoS attack, and you might end up paying fat fee. Many times the cloud providers will waive once, but it need not be in your case. So just keep in mind that you don't unnecessarily open too many ports, and also unnecessarily don't process too much of data. Yogesh is asking, can we opt for students package for working professionals? No, Yogesh, it is not possible. So we'll be doing validations about your status, and then we'll take it further. We'll be asking for some documentation to prove that you are a student. Okay, anonymous attendee, the question is answered. I hope it is clear about the cost related to AWS and Databricks. Deshik is saying, sir, I'm fresher. If I learn Python, SQL, and what I need to learn to become a data engineer, that is already covered. So PySpark, Kafka, and Airflow at entry level. Those are the things which you need to keep in mind. Hemant is saying, as I am already a computer science graduate, I'm familiar with these topics and would like to know about the whole course and placement process. Sorry, I was late in joining. Yeah, sure, Hemant, you can actually follow up over WhatsApp, and we will give you the clear path about what is the syllabus, and also how you can accelerate your learning process if you are good at some of the key skills. So we can even do assessment for you, and we can take it further. That being said, I hope I have answered almost all the questions. If there are any questions that needs to be answered, please post the questions once again, because I might not be able to follow all the questions that are asked. I will answer them. Okay, so there is a very good question from Mayur with respect to Snowflake versus Databricks. So Snowflake is a data warehouse database, which is alternative for Teradata, Greenplum, Vertica, Redshift, so on and so forth. Databricks is a Spark-based distributed computing engine, but there are some significant overlaps between the two. They are actually getting into competition between them. Earlier, these two used to complement each other, but now they are competing with each other. So Snowflake is adding the distributed computing capabilities by introducing Spark engine into their flavor. Databricks is trying to introduce the database related features using Delta Lake and other things. So there is something called a lakehouse architecture. So in future, probably in 3-4 years, there will be a direct competition between the two. But as of now, Snowflake is more of a database or data warehouse. Databricks is a distributed computing framework. I'll not be covering Snowflake in depth, but I will give a brief overview. If you're part of the program, if you want us to discuss around that, we can plan for something. So that is the advantage of live sessions. Okay, Yogesh, you will get the timelines later. Any other questions before we wrap up? Those who don't have any questions, you guys can drop off. That way, I will also know what are the outstanding questions, and I can follow up with those who still have some questions. Akshit is saying, do you support us for work authorization, as we only have 90 days after graduation to get a job? I might not be able to. Typically, right, those who are already graduated in US, they might have a plan B option with some sponsor, right? I would recommend you to stick to them for now. Okay, I'm not in a situation where I will be supporting you for work authorization, but you can consider whether the plan B option, where I might be able to provide you the support related to full-time opportunities in US. Okay, Akshit, what we can do, I will probably we will reach out to you. You can join a separate WhatsApp group related to MS students, and I will clarify all those things in that group. Okay, it's a separate private group where you can join, and we can take it further. So Shravani is asking when the program will start. You joined a bit late. Please fill the form. If you go to the form, Shravani, it will actually give you an idea. So please fill the form, and then we will actually share the today's video link, and also the rate card and all the details. It have even the tentative start dates also. You will get complete idea. So Sai is asking how many hours we need to spend for this course. So if you are a college going student, or if you're a MS college going student or India college going student, probably 15 to 20 hours per week should be good enough. If you are a graduate and if you want to complete within 3 to 4 months, then you have to spend full time. Especially if you're a MS student, if you are already a graduate and if you want to complete the course within 3-4 months, you have to spend 40 to 48 hours every week. That being said, I know you will be spending quite a bit of time over the weekdays as part of your job hunt process. So what I would recommend is you spend like 16 to 20 hours over the weekend. Weekdays, try to spend another 20 hours. That's how you should be able to spend 40 hours every week to actually to complete the course in timely manner. That being said, if you're a working professional or if you're a college going student, I will divide into 3 groups. One, graduates. Graduates have to spend 40 hours every week to complete the program as per the plan, right? So if I go back to this, let me go back to this. I'm going to the training and details card. Now I'm talking about US students, right? So there is a full time 3 to 6 months, which means you have to spend 40 hours every week. Part time 9 to 18 months. Uh, you guys can spend 15 to 20 hours every week. Those who are going to college are the ones who are categorized under part time. You can spend anywhere between 15 to 20 hours every week to complete this within 9 to 18 months. If you are a working professional, it is part time and it is 6 to 9 months. We'll be providing like content upfront. All the content will be given to you upfront. Typically, it takes around 8 to 12 hours per week to complete within this schedule. If you are able to spend 8 to 12 hours per week, you will be able to complete within this schedule. Okay, so that is to answer the question in YouTube. I answered for working professionals also. Okay. So Hari Krishna is asking for people having lab subscription already. Will there be any discount in fee? We will discuss. We will reduce the fee which whatever you have paid for the lab access. Okay, so that's the only discount which we will be giving. Sandhya is asking, I'm learning Hadoop technologies like Hive, Scoop, Python from your videos in ITVersity channel. I'm learning Apache Spark 2 with Python playlist. This course different from content already in the channel. Content will be almost similar. There might be additional modules. The difference is primarily with support. Okay, so we'll be providing the live support in Slack wherever you're stuck. And also we'll be providing placement assistance if you're entry-level professional. And also there will be live sessions over the weekend. So that is the difference. Harikrishnan is asking for 13 plus years of experience. Will there be assistance in job change after training in India? Most likely it is not required. You should be able to transition yourself. With 13 plus years of experience, it will be too challenging in India. Lateral placements is very challenging. Right, we will refer you in our network, but it not play a significant role until we close the gap. But in general, if you go through the program, it's very intensive program. If you are able to pick up the skills, you should be able to get the job without placement assistance. I don't see any challenge with that. Okay, so that being said, in Zoom, there are still 30 participants. Let me see if there are any more questions from you guys. Okay, I think there are no questions. Sure, Mayur, I hope you have filled the form already. We'll take it further. Ranjit is asking, what if we don't want to the foundational, but just to go with Spark, Kafka, Airflow? Will there be any fee adjustments? So as part of the program, it is the cost includes Python, SQL, and Linux. So we'll not be letting you to directly getting into laterals unless and until you don't want any Python, SQL, Linux support. Okay. So the way it will be is, if you're 100% sure you don't want to get into Python, SQL, and Linux, then definitely we can consider the discounts. We can discuss about as part of the WhatsApp group, and I can take it further. But if you are not sure, then you have to pay full fee. We will do the assessment. We will identify what are the gaps. We will define the accelerated path. Even though you will be paying the same amount of fee, still you are saying that saving the time, because you will be in the accelerated path, you will have an edge. So if you want to go through the assessment route to decide whether you wanted to skip Python, SQL, and Linux, and also get our feedback, what are the other areas that need to be covered to be comfortable with Spark, Kafka, and Airflow, then you have to pay full fee. There won't be any discount. But if you are already sure that you are good at Python, SQL, and Linux, and you just want to go with Spark, Kafka, and Airflow, then we can give some discount. We will decide based upon the conversation. Okay. I hope that answers my question, Ranjit. So Imran, you have to fill the form. In the form, we are not capturing the phone number. So depending upon which month you want to enroll, we will send you an email with the WhatsApp link. You just have to join that particular month link, WhatsApp group, and then we'll take it further. So Yuval is asking, what is total fee for working professionally in India? It is 35,400, including GST. Yeah, there will be projects. There will be 3-4 capstone projects, and even during the training also there will be quite a few exercises. Even our assessments is almost similar to capstone projects. Sandhya, definitely you will be considered for placement assistance in US if you are on H4EAD. I can help you on that. So in US we are planning for staff augmentation, as well as the full-time staff augmentation, as well as corp to corp. All those things will be covered for US. Sure, Sandhya, sure, Shravani, we can definitely plan. Okay, I'll be glad to help you guys. So that being said, I think there are no more questions. Let me see. Yeah, there are no more questions recently. And then we'll take it further. Yeah, Sandeep, I hope you have filled the form. If you fill the form, you will get the details. We'll also share the document and also WhatsApp link. Hari Krishna is asking about certifications. If you go to the training, you will be definitely be able to clear the certification. There is no doubt about it. We'll even give you CCA 175 model exam. You can take that exam and you can take it further. Imran, yes, you can consider either Databricks or CCA 175 exam. CCA 175, we will guarantee that you will pass if you go through the content, if you take our mock test and all. Databricks, I can't guarantee that you will pass. There might be some additional things which you might have to cover. So you are, okay, a lot of guys are asking about when the program will start. Okay. So the program, okay, let me. So just to give an idea about the dates, I will be sharing this document. You will get a fair idea. So this is how it will work. So all those who are interested to be part of the training, they have to complete the payment process by 20th of the prior month. And then first Saturday or second Saturday of the subsequent month will be the batch start date. So every month we'll be onboarding the students. Okay, so this is the, this will give you an idea. So Padma is asking to elaborate the live sessions over weekend. You can be specific, Padma. I have covered quite a few times. If you joined lately, if you joined late, you have to go to the video again. You can follow up with us on WhatsApp. But if you have a specific question about live sessions, feel free to ask that question. I will respond. Okay, I will wait for a few more minutes if you have a follow-up question on that. Yeah. Okay, Sendil is asking, as a test automation years experience, it would be best for my career switch, data engineer or cloud and DevOps. So I might not be able to tell you at this time. Most likely data engineer might be a better option than cloud and DevOps, but unless and until I speak to you, I will not be able to give you a fair answer. Each one of those requires different type of skills, but data engineer can be a better option because cloud and DevOps requires a lot of Linux experience, in-depth Linux experience, so and so forth. SQL and Python might not be that much handy. If you're an test automation engineer, if you're comfortable with Python or C# or .NET or Java a little bit, and if you're good at SQL, I would suggest data engineer over cloud and DevOps. Anonymous attendee, I have asked that. I have answered that question already. I think you are the same. Ranjit is the same person as anonymous attendee. The same question came. Okay, let me finally look at YouTube, and then we will wrap up. So Hari Krishna, the group link will come as part of the email if you fill the form. If you haven't filled the form, this is the form link. Okay, I will also add it to the description. You can come back to this video at any point in time and you'll be able to fill the form, and you will get the link to WhatsApp. You can fill the you can join the WhatsApp group, and then you can have any follow-up question. That being said, thank you very much for joining the session. If you have any questions, feel free to follow up on WhatsApp once you fill the form, and we'll clarify and then take it further. If you like the content, feel free to click on the like button. If you want to share with your friends, feel free to share. Those who are in US, stay tuned with me. I will once you fill the form, I will also create a separate group for H4 EADs and all, and I will be very specific to your questions. I will try to see in my network if people will be interested. If you have so many people in my database, to consider hiring, and then I can actually bridge the gap between the aspirants and the clients where there is a demand for the skilled resources. Okay, that being said, thank you very much and stay tuned.